Hello, my Graves Asian Ghost Stories family. Have you ever felt like life was always one step away from getting better? You work hard. You wait for the right chance. You tell yourself that maybe next month, next year, things will finally change. But somehow, the money never stays. The promotion goes to someone else, and the opportunities that almost reach you always seem to slip away. When that happens again and again, people begin to look for shortcuts. A spiritual master who promises to open the path that fate has kept closed. Tonight's story takes us to Bangkok, where a woman named Nicha only wants one thing: better luck. Just a chance to finally stop falling behind. But in old rituals, nothing is ever truly free. And sometimes, when someone offers to change your luck, the question is not whether it will work. The question is, what will it cost? At 3:17 in the morning, Nicha suddenly regained consciousness. Her eyes were open. She could see everything in her bedroom, but she could not move a single finger. The air conditioner was still running. The curtains shifted softly in the draft. Her phone, charging beside the bed, gave off a faint glow. The room was so quiet she could hear her own breathing. Then she saw the woman at the door. The woman was very thin. She wore an old dress whose original color could no longer be recognized. Wet black hair hung over her face, falling all the way to her chest. She stood beside the half-open bedroom door. She did not come in. She did not look at Nicha. Her face remained turned toward the corner of the room. In that corner was a very small offering table, several sticks of incense, a copper dish, and something Nicha had recently brought back from a ritual master. It was only the size of her palm, tightly wrapped in a yellow cloth covered with scripture. The woman stared at that thing for a very long time. Then slowly, she raised one hand. Her finger passed over the foot of Nicha's bed and pointed straight at the offering table. Her lips barely moved, but Nicha heard her clearly. "Stop feeding it." The next second, Nicha shot upright in bed. Her chest heaved. Her pajamas were soaked with cold sweat. The room had returned to normal. There was no woman at the door. The phone screen showed the time. 3:17 a.m. Nicha sat there for a long time before she remembered what she had done before going to bed. She had placed a small dish of sweet, sticky rice and chicken beside the offering table. She turned on the light. The dish was empty. Not even a crumb remained. She was certain she had not eaten it. And 3 months earlier, Nicha had not even believed in ghosts. Nicha was 28 years old and worked as an account manager at an advertising company in Bangkok. She had been working for 7 or 8 years. Her income was not bad. Her life was far from poor. But she always felt as if she was just a little short. Rent went up every year. Her parents occasionally needed her help. Even though her salary had increased, every time she looked at her savings at the end of the month, she never felt as comfortable as she thought she should. What bothered her most was that her company had recently promoted a coworker. That coworker had less experience than Nicha. Her ability was not obviously better. And when the project had been at its busiest, Nicha was the one dealing with most of the clients. Nicha was the one staying up late, revising proposal after proposal, but in the end, the promotion did not go to her. At a gathering with friends, after a few drinks, she half-joked and complained, "Why do some people seem to succeed no matter what they do? Why do I always feel like I'm missing just a little bit of luck?" One friend heard this and said she knew a very famous teacher, not a fortune teller on the street. This man was visited privately by business owners, influencers, and wealthy people. At the time, Nicha didn't take it seriously. Then, a few days later, a project bonus the company had originally promised her was canceled because of internal adjustments. That night, she stared at the balance in her bank account for a long time. In the end, she asked her friend for the teacher's contact information. The ritual master's home was completely different from what Nicha had imagined. It was not a remote wooden house. There were no smoky altars or dark rooms crowded with statues. He lived in a luxury apartment in central Bangkok. The living room was clean, bright. On the wall were many photographs of him with clients, businessmen, influencers, and some people Nicha did not recognize, but who clearly looked important. The master himself was about 50. He spoke softly. He was almost too polite. The first time they met, he did not try to scare her. He only looked at her for a while and said, "Your luck is not bad." Nicha was surprised. Then the master told her several things that had happened recently. She had just missed a promotion. A sum of money she should have received had been taken away, and someone with less experience than her had recently taken an opportunity that should have belonged to her. The smile on Nicha's face slowly disappeared. Her friend did not know any of those details, so Nicha began to listen seriously. Finally, the master stared at her for a long time. "You do have wealth luck," he said. "The problem is that every time wealth comes near you, it cannot stay." That sentence struck exactly where Nicha hurt. The master told her he could perform a simple ritual to open her wealth path. No danger, nothing extreme. After the ritual ended, he gave Nicha a small object wrapped in scripture cloth. "Keep it near where you work," he said. Before she left, he gave her only one warning. Do not let anyone else touch it. Nicha placed it inside her office drawer. What happened next went so smoothly that even she found it hard to believe. A client who had already clearly refused to work with her suddenly came back and asked to discuss the project again. Another project produced higher profits than expected, and the company gave her an extra bonus. Not long after that, the coworker who had been handling an important client suddenly resigned. Her supervisor casually handed that project to Nicha. In less than a month, her income and resources had clearly improved. At first, Nicha told herself it was just coincidence, but after the third and fourth good thing happened one after another, she sent the master a message for the first time. "Teacher, it really seems to be getting better." A long time passed before he replied, "Those things were always meant to be yours. I only helped open the road." That answer made Nicha believe him even more. She did not notice that, from then on, she began sleeping more and more heavily every night. The first time she dreamed of the woman, she didn't even feel afraid. In the dream, she was in an unfamiliar room. It was very dark. A long-haired woman was crouching in the corner, head lowered. After waking up, Nicha soon forgot about it. A few days later, she dreamed of the same room again. This time, the woman was no longer in the corner. She was much closer to Nicha. Nicha wanted to walk over and see her face. Just as the woman was about to lift her head, Nicha woke up. The third dream was the strangest. This time, the place in the dream had become Nicha's own bedroom. She was lying in bed. The woman stood at the foot of the bed. Her body faced Nicha, but her feet were twisted in another direction, pointing toward the place where Nicha kept the blessed object. It looked as if something invisible had tied the woman in place and dragged her here by force. The woman kept her head lowered and cried. Her voice was very soft. Finally, Nicha heard the sentence she repeated again and again. "Send me back." Nicha wanted to ask who she was. The woman suddenly raised her head. The dream snapped apart. When Nicha woke, the room was pitch black. Her phone showed the time, 3:17 a.m. What made her more uncomfortable was that the phone screen had already been lit. It was open to her chat with the ritual master. Nicha had no memory of opening the phone before going to bed. The next day, she told the master about the dream. He was not surprised at all. When the wealth path is opened, certain things will be attracted to it, he said. He told her that because her fortune had obviously improved recently, some unclean things might grow jealous of a living person's good luck. Some might even try to block the opened path again. Nicha asked, "Is that woman a ghost?" The master only said, "Whether she is or not does not matter. What matters is that you cannot let her stay." Nicha had already had the same dream several times. Of course she believed him. The master told her that the first ritual had only opened the road. Now they needed to perform another one to truly fix the luck in place. This time, she had to bring something that belonged to her, something she had used for many years, something she touched often, preferably something almost no one else had touched. Nicha brought him a pen. It was the pen she had bought after graduating from university and getting her first job. She had used it for 7 or 8 years. After the ritual ended, the master did not return the pen to her. Nicha found that strange, but she did not ask. Before leaving, she accidentally noticed that a cabinet door on the side of the room had not been fully closed. Inside was not only her pen. There were women's hair clips, old watches, glasses, and at the very bottom, even a tiny child's bracelet. Every item looked like it had been used for a long time. Nicha asked, "Do these belong to other clients too?" The master smiled. "Things left behind before." Then he casually shut the cabinet door. Nicha did not continue asking. After the second ritual, the nightmares really disappeared. For 3 nights in a row, she slept very well. When she woke, her mind felt clearer than it had in weeks. That made her even more certain the master had truly helped her. Until the 4th night. The woman came back. This time, she was kneeling beside Nicha's bed, so close that it was terrifying. Her wet hair clung to her face, exposing a small patch of gray-white skin. Around her neck was a deep black mark, like a bruise from something that had strangled her for a very long time. It was the first time Nicha had been this close to her. By instinct, she wanted to move away, but the woman did not lunge at her. Instead, she kept backing away. She stared behind Nicha. The fear on her face became more and more obvious. Nicha instinctively wanted to turn around. The woman suddenly threw herself forward and grabbed Nisha's arm. "Don't look back!" Nicha woke violently. From that day on, her real life began falling apart. At work, she made basic mistakes again and again. She sent the wrong attachment. She remembered the wrong time for a meeting. Clients complained for no clear reason. A bonus that had already been confirmed was canceled again. At home, the air conditioner broke. Then the washing machine broke. She never slept enough. Her temper worsened. Sometimes, if a coworker simply asked an ordinary question, she would lose control and snap. But what frightened her most was that she began doing things she had no memory of. One night before dawn, she suddenly regained consciousness. Everything in front of her was white. For several seconds, Nicha did not understand where she was. Then she realized she was standing in the kitchen. The refrigerator door was open. Cold air poured out continuously. She was barefoot. In her hands, she held a tray of raw meat that had not yet been prepared. The plastic packaging had been ripped open. A piece of the meat was missing. Nicha lowered her head and looked at her hands. Blood was between her fingers. There was a thick, raw taste in her mouth. Her stomach turned instantly. She rushed to the sink and vomited for a long time. But no matter how hard she tried, she could not remember when she had left the bedroom, or why she had been standing in front of the refrigerator. The next morning, she found several darkened drops of blood beside her bed. For the first time, Nicha became afraid of herself. She went back to see the master. She thought he would tell her the ritual had failed, but he remained calm. "She refuses to leave," he said. He told Nicha that the thing had already built a deep connection with her. If she stopped now, everything they had done before would be wasted. It might even become more dangerous. He suggested another ritual. The price was much higher than before, and the things he wanted her to prepare became increasingly strange. For the first time, Nicha felt truly uncomfortable. She asked, "Why didn't we need these things the first time I came?" The master was silent for a moment. "Because when you first came," he said, "it was not this serious yet." On the way home that day, a thought appeared in Nicha's mind for the first time. Was the ritual becoming deeper because the situation was getting worse? Or was the situation getting worse because she kept doing the rituals? What finally stopped her was her best friend. Nicha had gone several nights without proper sleep, and her mental state had become so bad that her friend grew worried. So she came over to stay with her for one night. Sometime before dawn, a sound woke her friend. Chewing. Her friend opened the bedroom door. There was no one in the living room. The sound came from the offering table. She walked over and saw Nicha crouching on the floor with her back turned. In front of Nicha was the small dish usually used for offerings. Nicha was grabbing something from the dish with her hands and stuffing it into her mouth. Her friend was so frightened that she rushed to turn on the light. "Nicha!" Nicha turned around at once. Her mouth and chin were covered in bright red blood, but her eyes were completely blank. After she became conscious, Nicha had no idea what she had just been doing. Her friend looked even worse than she did. After a long time, she said, "When the light was still off, Nicha, I think there was someone crouching beside you. A long-haired woman. When the light came on, she was gone." Nicha completely broke down. The next day, her friend did not let her do anything else. She took her directly to a temple. The monk at the temple did not even let Nicha finish telling the whole story. He asked only 2 questions. "Has anyone given you something recently?" Nicha nodded. "Yes." "Have you left something of your own with that person?" The pen instantly appeared in Nicha's mind. For the first time, the monk's expression changed. He did not explain exactly what the master had done. He only told her, "Do not go back." Nicha quickly asked, "Then what about the woman who keeps following me?" The monk asked in return, "Has she ever hurt you?" Nicha froze. She began to remember every dream. The woman had indeed been terrifying. But from beginning to end, she had never truly harmed Nicha. The first time, she said, "Stop feeding it." Later, she said, "Send me back." Then she grabbed Nicha only to stop her from looking behind her. Nicha suddenly realized something. All this time, the one pushing her step by step into deeper rituals had not been that woman. It had been the master. That night, Nicha did not go home. Her friend stayed with her near the temple. It was also the first time Nicha did not go to meet the master at the time he had requested. Before dawn, Nicha dreamed again. It was still that dim room. But this time, the woman was not hiding in the corner. She was not standing at the foot of the bed. She was sitting beside Nicha, very close. For the first time, Nicha forced herself not to move away. She could see the black mark around the woman's neck more clearly than ever. It looked like a strangulation wound that had sunk deep into the skin. Nicha asked, "Who are you?" The woman was silent for a long time. Finally, she said only, "I went to him once too." Nisha's mind flashed to the things in the master's cabinet: the hair clip, the old watch, the glasses, the keys, the child's bracelet, and her own pen. Those things, were they all left by people like us? The woman did not answer. She suddenly lifted her head. Her expression changed instantly. She stared hard behind Nicha. Her whole body began to tremble. Then another voice sounded in the room. Gentle, almost familiar. It was exactly the way the master usually spoke to her. "Why didn't you come today?" Nisha's whole body went rigid. The woman shook her head desperately, signaling that Nicha must not turn around. But the voice drew closer and closer, as if someone were slowly walking out from the deepest darkness of the room toward her back. Finally, the voice stopped beside Nisha's ear. "Didn't you say you wanted to earn more money?" Nicha woke with a gasp. She sat up, breathing hard. Her phone was beside her. The screen showed the time, 3:17 a.m. Her whole body was covered in sweat. Her friend was still asleep in the other bed. Nicha was just about to wake her when her phone suddenly vibrated. A new message from the master. Nicha opened it. There was only one sentence. "Why didn't you come today?" She stared at the screen. A coldness spread slowly through her body. She had never told the master whether she would come that day or not. From the next day on, Nicha cut off all contact completely. She did not answer his calls. She did not reply to his messages. She did not go back for the pen. With help from her friend in the temple, she disposed of the object the master had given her. Life did not immediately return to normal. Work was still a mess. The money did not come back. In the end, Nicha simply resigned from her old job. It took almost half a year for her to rebuild a normal sleep schedule and a normal life. At 3:17 in the morning, she finally stopped waking for no reason. The long-haired woman never appeared again. Sometimes Nicha still thought about her. She could not help wondering, if that woman had truly wanted to hurt her, why, in the last dream, had she looked even more afraid than Nicha? Half a year later, Nicha had found a new job. Her life was no longer as profitable as before, but it slowly became stable. One night, after taking a shower, she sat on her bed scrolling through her phone. Suddenly, she received a private message from a girl she did not know. "Hello? Did you once visit Master So-and-so?" The moment Nicha saw that name, her hand stopped. She did not reply. A few minutes later, the girl sent another message. Sorry to contact you so suddenly. I recently started doing a wealth ritual with him. Nicha stared at that sentence for a very long time. She was about to close the chat window. Then the phone vibrated again. The girl sent one final message. I just wanted to ask, back then, did you keep dreaming about a long-haired woman